Ever been shouted at as a project manager? It can feel like the whole world is truly crashing down on you. But what if I told you there was a way to handle it that could actually strengthen your leadership? Now I know. How do you stay calm when someone is coming at you full force? And more importantly, how can you trust that explosive situation into an opportunity to build trust, respect with your team? In today's episode, I'm going to share these strategies that not only help you survive these tough moments, but thrive in these tough moments. Now, to be clear, this will not happen at overnight, as I've even struggled with this through my decade of being in project management. However, I will tell you the best thing is it will get better over time. You will learn how to adjust over time. You mind if I share a story with you? I was part of this new team that they had created. I was excited because if you fall in this thing that I love, that I hope you fall in love with, called project management, when there's a new team or new opportunity, you get excited because once you guys really bond together, it really truly, you have so much fun as part of the project. But before I officially joined, I was just asked to sit on some of the calls. And there was a stake that he was yelling at the other stakeholders and even the project team. Now you can imagine, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, huh, I'm not really feeling this. I may need to this team may not be for me if I'm going to have to deal with somebody like this on a weekly or daily type basis. So I said, you know what? I'm going to accept this challenge. In my mind, these is conversations. Don't judge me, family, but this is what I'm thinking in my mind. So I thought to myself, okay, this is how I'm going to handle it. If he starts yelling at me, I need to basically create and demand respect right away. And the only way to do that is to really push back forcefully, push back in a way that I don't have to raise my voice, but still be stern enough to get my point across and be very objective of how I get my point across. So when I knew it was coming, because when you've been in this thing long enough, it's coming to, as they say, coming to a theater near you. So I'm sitting there and he's going around the table again. We're talking and next thing you know, he goes off, he calls himself going off on me. And I sit there and I'm listening. I said, are you done? Kept going, are you done? And then my third time, so I gave you two warnings. And now the third time I said, listen, enough of this. We're not going to keep going back and forth. This is what it is. If you do not want to do this, and I said, then we will not continue this meeting, adjourn. And I picked up my stuff and walked out. Why did I do that, family? I did that because it transitioned us into point number one, staying calm and control your emotions. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't always gotten this right. So this is why one of the things I love about your family, you're not judgmental. Plus, I don't know if you've seen this done on a level as far as someone is very transparent with you about project management. Yeah, I'm going to feed you the great stuff. Yeah, I'm going to feed you the exceptional stuff, but I also want to tell you about some other things that you may not be aware of. And when someone shouts at you, your first reaction is not to stay calm. Your first reaction is to defend yourself and react emotionally. And I did it. I've done it. I've done it more than I'm really happy about or pleased about. But as I continue to get better, I understood and I understand that I first must stay calm. That was an example because that was a real life example that happened. And I stayed calm, but I stayed calm and I'd also push forward with authority. I'm not going to play this back and forth game with you. We are here to achieve a project, an outcome. And if we continue to go back and forth, if I allow you to use me as a doormat, you will not respect me. But as Birdman says, you will put some respect on my name at the end of the day. My professional insight, family, when you feel your emotions rising, take a slow, deep breath before responding. Focus on controlling your facial expression and body language to appear calm and collected. So again, family, stay calm and control your emotion. Point number two, take it personal until the personnel is separated. Now, I know you've always heard it been said, and I used to believe in that old adage as well. Don't take it personal. It's not personal. It's not about you. Am I part of the equation? Yeah. Are they attacking me or are they attacking the work? It does sound like they're attacking you, then it is personal. So I know that, again, you guys probably don't normally hear that, but I want to challenge you and say that it is personal when someone is attacking you personally and not attacking the work. There is a difference. If you are attacking the work saying, hey, man, we really missed that. We need to ensure that all of these tasks are aligned and make sure that they meet a particular milestone. That's the work. But attacking me and saying, I don't know why we hired that project manager is like that, but you're attacking me now. So I'm all about attacking the work and making the work better, because in turn, when you make the work better and give constructive and coaching feedback, you allow the person to get better. They have that cliche that, oh, we're looking for someone to hit the ground running, but every track is different. I like that. The reason why I say every track is different, meaning that if you've ever played any sport, or let's use a sports reference. If you went to every field, let's say a football field, since it's football season, every football field is not the same. So that means if you're joining a new organization, that organization is not going to be the same as the organization that you just left, because they may have what I call rules that are not published, that you walk in there thinking that, yeah, you can have that same shouting aggression. And next thing you know, you find yourself in HR and then maybe out of a job opportunity, where there's other organizations that may support that on a level, because they don't feel that as long as it doesn't get to the point where it's so disrespectful that they don't follow the proper, and if the proper measures are followed, then they may not see a problem. So I say take it personal until the personnel or the personal aspect is separated. Here's my professional insight. Focus on the work by identifying the real issue. All I always talk about here, family, we always got to look at the root cause, not the surface layer. A lot of people will give you surface layer stuff, especially your project team will give you surface layer issues, but there's probably a deeper rooted issue. Maybe they had a project manager before you, and this project manager said they were going to do X, Y, and Z, and they didn't deliver. Maybe there was a project manager before you, and then they said that they had this project team's back and they didn't step up and have their back. So look for the deep rooted issue. Point number 3, pause before responding. Again, before responding, pause before responding. Taking a brief pause after they finish talking can help you gather your thoughts and ensure you respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. That is a technique I learned along the way, family. When someone is just going and shouting at you and saying things, and just having the ability to really look them in their eyes. And if it's virtual, to remain quiet. And then they say, are you there? Yes, I'm here. Well, and you're really so quiet. And then you, before you speak, pause, because this gives you a chance to go through that emotional roller coaster that you're probably on. And you need to get off the roller coaster so you can have a professional conversation. Here's my professional insight. Count to 3 in your head before responding to prevent yourself from saying something defensive or, more importantly, family, unproductive. Because again, there's this adage that I heard my mom and my daddy even told me this. They said, if you're arguing with somebody from a distance, somebody can't tell who was the fool. Okay, maybe you don't understand that. What they were saying is that a lot of times, and just imagine if you were in a meeting, that you walked into a meeting and these two people were arguing. You don't know who's right or wrong until you sit down and listen to the overall conversation. But imagine that same meeting you walk into and someone is yelling and the other person is just sitting there calmly. Right away, you're going to think, what's wrong with this person? Why is he or she getting so emotional and so aggressive? So that's why pausing before you respond is key. Point number 4, separate the facts from the emotion. Especially in a highly emotional situation, facts definitely could get lost. So Bringing this discussion back to the objective data helps resolve the issue. Family, let's talk about facts and not talk about fiction. Let's talk about facts, let's not talk about emotion. Family, let's talk about facts and align it with the data, meaning show me the data, show me the evidence of the reason why we can't, why are we having this big blow up? Here's my professional insight. Ask clarifying questions. As a project manager, family, we have to always be asking questions. Here's two examples of some excellent questions. What specific issue are you most concerned about? Again, what specific issue are you most concerned about? And the second one, can we look at the latest status report to better understand what happened? And again, can we look at the latest status report to better understand what happened? Point number 5, remain professional at all times. Okay. I'm going to be honest with you, family. Like I said, we family, right? We family. I've done this about 98, okay, 7, okay, 95% of the time, okay? I'm just being honest, okay? I've done this really well, being professional, but sometimes there's characters where they don't allow you to keep that professional. Is that an excuse? No, it's not an excuse. We should always be professionals. We should always strive to be professional. So as a project manager, it is important to lead by example. I know it says project manager, but you are a leader. Are you going to get this right all the time? No. Should you get this right all the time? Yes, but there's going to be opportunities that you don't. And as long as you don't make it as bad, or I should say, as challenging to recover, you'll be okay. But you're not going to get this right all the time. So I always recommend remaining professional does signal maturity and leadership. And I really say more about the leadership aspect and not the maturity level, because I love who said that? I think this was, can't remember who said this, but it was really about, I don't want to work with nobody that have not been through anything. And what that translates to, meaning that if you haven't been in a meeting and someone's yelling at you or saying something crazy to you, or I want to work with those type of project managers or work with that project team, because that means they've been through something. The key word is through. And a lot of times we don't want to deal with these aspects of project management, of having to deal with someone saying something and they may not have all the facts. And most of the time they don't. They're upset about something else. And you just happen to be a target. And I'm nobody's target, but there's a way to still remain professional and show a cadence and show a strength of leadership. Here's my professional insight. Avoid raising your voice or speaking harshly. Use respectful language like, even if you're upset, I understand your concerns and I want to resolve this professionally. If somebody yelling at you and you tell them, I understand your concerns, I want to resolve this professionally, what can somebody really say? Or they just going to keep going? So is it really about you yelling, or did you getting this off? But are you really looking for a solution based on how you feel at this moment? Just think about that for a moment, family. Point number 6, my favorite, is offer to discuss this issue privately. I've had a lot of different disputes, and this is what another one of my go-tos is. Let's have a private conversation. Because see, what can happen, public confrontations can escalate due to the pressure of the audience. It's like when back in school where someone is, a bully is trying to fight you and you don't want to fight, and everybody around you like fight. And you like, no, I don't want to fight and everything of that nature. And next thing, pow, you just like, you don't know what happened. What I'm meaning is that it was because of the pressure from the audience, eventually it forced you to fight. And when you're dealing with it, and it's no different from that, the analogy I just gave to being in a meeting with someone that has escalated the conversation, because now there's pressure around them to keep going. Because now they're trying to prove something that they can say and do whatever they want to do. So moving this conversation to a private space can help both parties communicate more openly. I always share with you, family, is that when I have two stakeholders or a stakeholder and a project team member or two project team members, whatever the scenario is, going back and forth, I'll allow it till it gets to a point where it's disrespectful, where name calling is happening, or transition from attacking the work, transition to attacking each other personally. I don't do that on my calls. I don't allow for that on my calls. So what I would do is I'll set up a meeting with these two, but first I will meet with each of them individually to find out what is the root. Like, how did this start? And where is this coming from? Is it something I missed? Help me understand how I can help you. And the majority of the time, I'm able to solve problems that way because there's a deeper pressure that's going on that I may not be aware of, that may have been communicated to each one of those. And so I have to figure out a way to get them to work together. Here's my professional insight. Public confrontations can escalate due to the pressure of an audience. Moving the conversation to a private space can help both parties, again, communicate more openly. Point number 7, listen actively. Sometimes people just need to vent, and listening helps diffuse the situation. Like I said, a lot of times, family, it's probably not even about you. It may be something that happened at their home, on their way to work. You don't know what it is. And you just happened to be there at the time, and they just thought it was in their best interest, even though it wasn't, to say what they said. I don't agree with that. That is an excuse you're using an excuse to take something out on that maybe if you felt like you needed 5 or 10 minutes, I would rather you not come to the meeting and say, hey, I'm gonna need 5 or 10 minutes before I show up. I apologize for being late, but right now, there's some things I'm dealing with, but I promise to be there. That's a better approach. Professional insight. Maintain eye contact, nod to show you're listening, avoid interrupting, and let them finish speaking completely before you respond. Point number 8, propose an immediate solution. See, offering a solution as soon as the problem is identified shows you're proactive instead of reactive, and you're concerned about focusing on resolving the issue. Here's my professional insight. I ask the question. Here's what we can do right now to address this and provide a specific response with actionable steps. Again, here's what we can do right now to address this and provide specific steps with actionable steps along with it. All right, I have 2 bonuses, family, and then I'm going to give you my transformational thoughts, and I'll let you be on your way. Bonus number 1, set boundaries if shouting persists. If shouting becomes disrespectful or aggressive, it's very important to set boundaries and to maintain a professional environment. I'm all about maintaining and sustaining a professional environment. Here's my professional insight. Calmly say, I understand you're upset, but let's keep this conversation respectful so we can resolve this issue constructively. Again, I understand you're upset, but let's keep this conversation respectful so we can resolve this issue constructively. Next bonus. If you've done everything that I've just discussed so far today in today's episode, you met with people on an individual basis, you stayed calm, you remained professional, and none of that has happened. Document the incident. If shouting becomes a part of a larger pattern and needs to be escalated, you're going to need a record of detail. Do you know the motto here? Documentation beats conversation. If you have to escalate, unfortunately, they're going to ask for documentation. When did this start? And you need to be able to know when it started. What have you done so far that was within your authority? And you need to be able to articulate. No answer. Write a neutral, factual account of the incident, noting what was said, who was present, and how you responded. Here's my 4 transformational marks. Point number 1, remain professional at all times. Again, family, this is something that you're going to have to learn continuously. You're going to have to show up continuously. It's not like you're going to get it right all the time, as I said, but the goal is to be as accurate as you can. So avoid raising your voice or speaking harshly. Use respectful language, even if you're upset. Like, I understand your concerns and I want to resolve this professionally. Point number 2, Pause before responding. As I stated before, count to three in your head before preventing yourself from saying something defensive and or unproductive. Point number three, offer to discuss the issue privately. This is one of my favorites because, again, when there's people arguing, they may feel the pressure from the audience to keep it up. So when you have two people, I normally meet with them individually before I bring them together to have that conversation. This eliminates all the pressure, and now we can have a better, transparent, and open conversation. And last and final point, stay calm and control your emotion. When you feel your emotions rising, take a slow, deep breath before responding. And remember, family, focus on controlling your facial expressions and body language to appear calm and, most importantly, collected. Family, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, that just simply means Ed. And again, family, when someone is shouting out at you, you have to understand that there's a purpose and a reasoning behind it. And if the purpose or the reason does not fit what you signed up for, then you already need to know what you need to do. One, either go address it with your HR. Two, address it with that person directly. Three, look for another job opportunity if nothing is going to change, because you can't change somebody. Only thing you can do is continue to work on yourself and change you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode again. And like I said, I enjoyed delivering it. Until next time, I'm out.